It is an eerily quiet morning. I stepped outside and it was like dead quiet. Pitch black. I mean, not even the sound of wind. And for whatever reason, my little patio light was left on overnight. And that's where, I have a bunch of chairs. It's like a little, sitting area. Um, and, there wasn't anybody there. But the hairs on my neck were standing. Felt like I was being watched. I don't know. These are probably just ramblings of a madman who didn't get enough sleep. But, so be it. Hell, I even expected to see a face behind me in the back seat when I turned the overhead light on. I don't know. I'm setting myself up here for a really good horror movie plot. Man goes to gym and fights faceless entities. But that's not important. What is important is the lift today. We got Arms. Managed to get out at a somewhat reasonable time. I rotted in bed a little too long, I'm not gonna lie. So, still good time. I'll probably have a solid hour or so to get a good arm pump going, which I think is definitely feasible. Because how much time do you really need? I'm going to be doing a alternating style today, so 2 sets of tricep, 2 sets biceps, flip-flop back and forth. So all in all, 10 minutes to warm up, and then all I really need is 30-ish minutes. 45 would be, more than enough for me to get a solid pump on both ends. On days like legs especially, I need more time. This morning, hour time limit that I have does not cut it for me to be able to hit both hamstrings and quads. So that's why if I'm lifting in the morning for work, then it's normally just a quad focused day. Because my hamstrings are, at least proportionally speaking, more well developed than my quads are. There's a lot more definition, they're a lot bigger, a good line of separation between the two, and it kind of seems like my quads are lacking. So, and that's not from a lack of training or anything. It's definitely due to genetics, just a better predisposition for hamstrings than quads. So, any extra quad work that I can put in, always going to be a benefit. The one downside to all of this, and I'm sure a lot of you are probably thinking it is, does it really necessarily matter, given that I'm cutting and have been cutting for a while now on what my layout for my lifts are, how many sets, how many reps, all that. How much does it really matter when I'm not technically growing any muscle? Because that's kind of the disheartening thing about cutting, right? You're not putting on any muscle, you're not building anything. Well, the point of it is to maintain what I've got. I think that's one of the hard aspects of cutting, is that inevitably you're going to lose some muscle mass, but it is up to you to determine how much you're going to lose. I'm pretty dead set on keeping the cut slow and controlled so that I don't lose much, if any, muscle mass. So for the 200, almost 250 days that I've been cutting, I'm pretty happy to say I don't think I've lost much muscle mass at all. Uh, the only like strength declines that I've had are mostly in chest, and it's not by much. It's like maybe 5%, something like that. I haven't lost anything with back. Honestly, there are some days where I feel like I've gotten stronger on back. Lately I've kind of realized, and this is definitely like it's a bit of a lame realization, for a lot of lifters, but, figured out that I could do like 5 or 6 pull-ups without any trouble, like with ease. And for somebody that grew up like heavy, I was a very, very fat kid. Then up through high school, I was very morbidly obese. I was never able to do a pull up. Like, I remember back in high school, hell, even up through college, whenever I would do pull ups, I'd either have to do like the assisted machine or have somebody like, assist me manually. But now I can just pop some pull ups without a problem. So that's pretty fucking sick. But, there's some take and there's some give when it comes to cutting. Shit's tough. Not gonna lie. Especially for somebody that has a sweet tooth like me. Whenever Krispy Kreme rolls out those Biscoff donuts, it takes a lot of mental fortitude for me to stick to the cut. But we're making progress every day, so can't complain too much about it. The goal for the cut, I don't necessarily have like a number on the scale weight as a goal. I just want to get rid of as much of this soft tissue as possible. I've been doing pretty well with it. I started the cut at around 260 plus or minus like 2 pounds. And now I hover around 219 to 223. So that's about 40 pounds down. And with most of it being fat, if not all of it being fat, I'm pretty happy with that. 40 pounds is not nothing. And you might argue that like only 40 pounds in like, over half a year is kind of crazy, but I don't want to do like a crash diet. I don't want to lower my caloric intake to the point where I'm dying every day because I can't really afford to do it. I have a lot of like responsibilities in life that require me to have at least a decent amount of energy floating around my system for me to handle my day to day. I think if I was in school, something where, all I need to worry about is studying and that's it, I'd be a little more inclined to, do a crash diet. 3 months of like, 1,500 calories, meat only, but, such is life. I'm pretty happy with the way things are going. And I foresee that by this time next year, definitely by this time next year, I will be back to bulking again. That's going to be fun. I'm very excited for that. Very excited to be able to throw around some really heavy weight, especially because I'm already throwing around some pretty decent weight. But I mean, that's on the cut. Imagine if I was fully carved up. Everything is in order, and that's going to be fun. That's what I have to look forward to. But I am almost at the gym now, so I will see you guys once I'm out of there. I have had an epic saga of a morning. It has been kind of crazy. So before I get into that, we got to talk about the lift. I kind of realized after I recorded that first clip before lifting that I didn't even talk about what I was going to do. Or I kind of did, but I didn't get into specifics. So I ended up doing 2 sets of, what the fuck do you call them? You're crossing the cables in an X, that type of tricep push down. 2 sets of that, 2 sets of machine preacher curls, then back to 2 sets of this. You've probably seen Rich Piana doing them, where you kind of bend forward and you're holding the D handle like this, and you're crossing across your body. Call them Rich Piana tricep pushdowns. So 2 sets of that, followed by another 2 sets of preacher curls, followed by 2 sets of skull crushers, 2 sets of dumbbell, isolateral curls. And then I burnt out with tricep, just like single-handed tricep pushdown, and 2 sets of, I don't know the name of half of these fucking workouts. I'm not going to lie to you. I just know them. But essentially you get the cable machine, you set them like across from each other, and then you get a big stretch and you curl like up like this. So if somebody knows the name of them, fucking tell me, because I couldn't. But fucking crazy lift. Pump wise, everything looked amazing, but especially the triceps. Holy shit, I had pumpkins on either sides of my arms. That was great. But what made the morning something of an epic saga was, normally if I'm feeling like I have a hankering for breakfast, I'll pop by Spanx. Just cause it's on the way. Alright, it's not the best, but shit, gets the job done. But I was talking to my girlfriend the other day, and when she goes to work, she stops by QT because it's on the way. And I'm not gonna lie, I could fuck up some QT. They got some pretty good stuff. And there's one not too far from me. It's a little out of the way, but like only by 5 minutes. So I went to QT. It's like, fuck it. I could fuck up some QT right now. So I went over there and they had fucking nothing. It was a ghost town. Like, the construction workers beat me to the punch and they savaged the place. They had nothing left except for like whatever's on the hot rollers. So I did my little walk of shame out of there, getting nothing. And I went back to Spanx, Old Reliable, and they got me covered. They had a few more chicken biscuits left. So that's what I've got. I'm kind of holding it till I get to work, and then I'll scarf it down while I'm in there. Maybe I'll eat it after the video. Who knows? Either way, in the next 30 minutes, the chicken biscuit will no longer exist in this plane of reality. So that chicken biscuit is 560 calories. I want to say it's like 20 something grams of fat, 40 something carbs, and then another 56 grams of protein. Not too shabby. Really not too shabby. And then I got a protein shake. That's another 50. And then, of course, I got my protein brownies. I always come stocked up with that. So I've got 2 of them. So that'll be another 40. And then another. Did I forget my lunch? There is a non-zero chance that I forgot my lunch. If that's the case, I will have to make do with what I got. But if I didn't forget my lunch, that's another 12, 60, 78 grams of protein. So all in all, by the time I'm done with the workday, I'll be almost at 200 grams and 1,500 calories. So that'll make for a nice little dinner, and then I'll be good to go. A lot of people like to meal prep, especially when they're cutting. And I used to do that for a while, like when I first started to cut. But I've kind of gotten a little lazy. I mean, there are a number of factors. The biggest one is I bought a metric fuck ton of Tupperware. All right. Matching sets, like 30 plus matching sets of Tupperware. And they're all gone. I have no fucking clue where they went. They just no longer exist in my house. So that kind of makes things hard for me because I don't have enough Tupperware available. And not only that, but my freezer is chock full of just random shit that I need to throw out, and I'm just too lazy to do it. So yeah, I could do it, and really I should, but I won't. At least not for now. Another thing is I guess I've gotten experienced with cutting, in that I have a really good idea of whatever I'm eating. I know how many macros there are. And it's not like I freeball it to the point where I just kind of guesstimate. No, I always look up my macros and I punch it into my macro tracker. But I kind of like having the freedom of, I'll eat whatever I feel like eating with the idea in mind that I've got to keep up with my macros and track everything. So for those of you that are strong-willed and well-disciplined, that's not a bad idea. It works. But if you kind of struggle with that, or you really don't feel like, thinking on the fly of what I should and shouldn't eat, then, meal prep is probably better for you. And to be honest, maybe in the coming weeks, I'll get out of my laziness and meal prep because, I mean, it's a pain in the ass the day that you are cooking everything, but then, for the next week, you're pretty set. So maybe I'll buy some more Tupperware and meal prep something, but, I always like to freeball it. Seems to work pretty well for me. But yeah, man, cutting can be a little difficult. For a good while, at the start of this cut, what I would do is I would prep a ton of rice in all these Tupperware containers. And then for the protein aspect, I would buy a metric fuck ton of the prepared tuna packets of different flavors. And then for lunch, I'll heat up the rice, throw in my tuna, and then I would get a bunch of Quest chips and I'd crush it up in the bag and pour it on top and mix it all together. And all of my coworkers hated me. But it really wasn't it tasted pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie to you. I enjoyed it, but maybe I'll start doing that too. I wouldn't mind having some tuna. All in all, you just got to figure out what works for you. I think that's the big point of lifting that a lot of people miss, is that I think you're better for it if you kind of figure things out and understand why you're doing everything, as opposed to hiring a coach to design a lifting scheme and meal plan for you. Because then you don't really connect with the point of why you're doing everything. You're just kind of doing it because somebody's telling you to. But if you understand why a specific amount of carbs is important, why a specific amount of protein is important, and why you're doing the lifts that you're doing, I think you kind of connect with it more. You get a little more motivated to do everything. But that's just kind of my idea. The fuck do I know? I'm just some random dude amongst millions of others doing the same thing. But on another bit of exciting news, I mentioned this a few videos ago. My older brother's coming into town tomorrow, and where he lifts, there's a powerhouse gym nearby. There are none nearby me. I wish. But I fucking love Powerhouse. They have some good equipment, and all the real fellas out there, they lift there. The big guys, the freaks, they're all at Powerhouse. So I asked him to get me a shirt. So expect to see a new shirt tomorrow, maybe. Or within the coming videos, you'll see a pretty sick new shirt. That's gonna be pretty fucking sick. I don't know. I like wearing gym shirts. Like, most of the time I'll wear them in the gym, but I've got a couple nice ones, that I kind of like to wear out and about. It's just kind of cool to, like, be a bigger guy and wear, like, a gym shirt. It makes you feel powerful. Plus it baits people into talking to me about lifting. And that's kind of the goal. I just fucking love talking about lifting. It's one of my favorite things. So if you can get me started on a conversation about lifting, shit, man, you're going to be locked in for an hour. You are going to be in an unskippable cutscene with me where I talk about lifting nonstop. So I think that's enough rambling. We've been talking for a while. So I'm going to down this protein shake while I drive, probably edit this video. It's not me like actively like tapping away at my phone. It's just throwing everything into the video editor, and it takes a while to process all the voice isolation and all that. So I kind of like to do it while I drive because I can just listen to the radio and not think about it. But we got legs tomorrow. I'm not working tomorrow, so it's going to be a pretty full hamstring and quad day, which is much needed. I've got this weird like crick in my left leg. I'm not sure what it feels like. It needs to be popped, but I cannot pop it for the life of me. So I don't think that'll be debilitating for the lift, but we'll see tomorrow. So, catch you guys then.